From the Opco Studios in Oklahoma City, this is a World Series update with Mike Baldwin. I'm Jenni Carlson. Mike, this is a World Series between the Cardinals and the Red Sox, but this has sort of got some Oklahoma undertones. A lot of these guys have connections to our state.
Well, you got Matt Holliday, of course, the Stillwater kid, 6-time All-Star, lifetime 300 hitter. I mean, he's just got so much postseason experience with the Rockies and then the Cardinals. Cosma, the kid from Owasso, who got the starting job, had a little postseason success last year, really lost the job, but because of his defense, he's starting to play even a little bit more in the playoffs. And on the flip side, the guy in the dugout that we wrote about a little bit today, Tom Holliday, gave him his starting coaching after his career ended as OSU's pitching coach. Well, now he's the Boston Red Sox manager. Proved 28 games, the Red Sox, and it was interesting talking to Tom Holliday because he goes, I got to pull for my kid in left field, but I sort of like that guy in the other dugout because he used to be my pitching coach and pitched for him, you know, back in the day. So it's got some Oklahoma flavor to it, and I think it's going to be a fun World Series.
John Farrell, as you mentioned, the Red Sox manager, he was kind of on the cusp, I guess, if you will, of the Oklahoma State baseball renaissance. I mean, he was part of that change to powerhouse. You had a chance to talk to some Cowboy coaches and players that really reflected on what they had to do to become a powerhouse.
Yeah, in Wednesday's paper, we had a story on Holliday being torn between, rooting both sides, and a long story on Farrell on how he's got some GM-type qualities. A lot of people thought he might stand up in the front office. He switched from Cleveland personnel over to pitching coach, then managing Toronto, Boston. But, I mean, some of the other parts of that is John Farrell really was part of a class that we're going to write about Sunday that started 7 straight World Series. He was in the first 4, and the Cowboys went east and west because when they came in from Yavapai, the junior college power out in Arizona, when Gary Ward came, they realized the Sooners really had a dominant hold on this state. They still went for in-state kids. They wanted them, but Mickey Telton, of the dozen players I found from that 4-year span Farrell was there that really helped the program, was the only local. The rest are from Incavilla, from California. You have Canwisher and Farrell from New Jersey. You had some guys from Pennsylvania and Ohio, and it all comes down to Holliday, and Ward had great pro scouts. And back in those days, they couldn't fly out and visit recruits, so they did a lot of it by phone. And guess what? These pro scouts came through for them, and once they started getting on a roll, they sent more and more players. So we're really looking back 30 years on how OSU became a baseball player, and it was because of going east and west. I mean, even a guy like Jim Traver on the radio. I mean, he's from Baltimore. You just go down the list of all these guys that came to Oklahoma State, sight unseen. They built all the original stadium. As we know, the rest is history. They averaged 55 wins those 4 years that Farrell was there. They don't even hardly play 55 games anymore.
Right.
It shows you how dominant those teams were. They finished 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 5th those 4 years. So he was on the very early stages of OSU becoming a national power.
A New Jersey kid who, as you reported, showed up in a suit and tie. Great story.
I mean, Gary Ward, you ask him 3 questions, you get 40 minutes of answers. But he went down a long list of stuff. He said he always had it in him. He is very sophisticated, and he just never saw the fire like Gary showed. I mean, Gary's the kind of guy who didn't hide his emotions. Evidently, Farrell was one of those guys that, looking back on it, Gary said he always had it in him. I just didn't see it. And as the years went by, he realized, oh, the kid wasn't lacking competitiveness. He just didn't show it like Gary and some of the other people did. So there were some interesting stories that came out of that, talking to those guys back in the day when Farrell was at OSU.
All right. Thanks, Mike. Be sure to stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoma.